Hello and welcome to Over the Wall, a Chinese Dota podcast with me, Dan Off and AK Mr. Big Jams, and LeonArthur himself. Leon, how are you doing today?
I'm doing all right, thank you.
That's good to hear.
It's been a pretty long week though, like a lot
Mhm.
of third-party casting, but I'll be casting the Southeast Asia DPC in about 4 days or 3 days, and I'm very
Exciting.
excited for it.
Yeah, you must be. I'm looking forward to watching you. But we're not here to talk about Southeast Asia. Cast those thoughts out of your mind. We're here to talk about China and the start of the DPC, which has kicked off, I guess, in a plum. No major upsets yet, but there's little things to talk about. So let's delve straight to Division Two. Um, talk me with. I'll run through the results briefly for listeners. We've had IG beating Sengen 2-0, YBB beating Phoenix 2-1, SAG beating IG Vitality 2-0, and DEC beating Ares 2-0 as well. Are there any particular results there that jump out to you immediately?
Not really. I think everyone expected IG to come in and dumpster all the kids here, and then go right back up to the Division One. It's looking like it so far because the two games were quite good, I would say, and they were quite shaky still though. But I think IG, you give them some time, they should be all right. Especially I've been looking at some Emo's interview lately, and he sounds really confident going back up
Mm-hmm.
there. And he's saying that it doesn't matter what league they are playing in, as long as they stay together, they will be able to produce good results. So I think for now, looking at Division 2, I think one slot you kind of have to give it to IG already.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see much upsets that is possible to come out just yet. So I think everyone else is probably trying to grab the second slot.
Mm-hmm. So let's talk through that IG versus Ascension game. 2-0, 51 minutes and 40 minutes. It doesn't look like a dumbstering by any stretch of the imagination. Was it? Are they
Yeah.
running at full strength yet?
Looking at the draft, I would definitely say that those are definitely meta picks, and they are looking dead serious on the draft as well. They are one of the earliest team to put out the Chen too. We talk about
Mm-hmm.
Chen being a meta pick and being a China pick as well. Not so much of a China pick, but there is definitely some of the players that love playing this hero. Exnova, Ollie, they all do. Surprisingly, there are two Malaysians as well. So I think these are the very rare Southeast Asia player that could play Chen, and they're all in China team. So a little bit unfortunate for Southeast Asia, but definitely a huge addition to a lot of this Chinese team. I just feel like the execution weren't too on point or too clean just yet.
Mm-hmm.
But if you talk about the ability to close out games, they are definitely still better than a lot of these tier two teams or division two teams.
I think it often shows in that closing out of games as well, and in late game team fighting and also decision making. Does it feel like they're making those right decisions, even if at the start of the game they're not completely outclassing
Uh,
teams?
I feel like I feel like JT particularly was very on point. I feel like this could be his meta because JT is always known as his very solid laning phase. He's always the one, he's either he's winning or at the worst he's mostly 50-50. And I think with this meta being here is a very laning phase emphasized meta. I
Mm-hmm.
think this is gonna do good for a lot of teams that have very strong side laners and also mid laners. They
Yeah.
have that. I think Fly is a little bit shaky, but in terms of laning skills, GT definitely top there. Emo definitely top there as well. So
Mm-hmm.
I think this meta, this patch, I think IG will shine.
The second thing I want to talk about IG related is IG Vitality, who are playing against IG on the 20th, i.e. Sunday. Is it unusual for the two teams from the same org to be in the same league? Do they have quite close relationships?
Yeah, they definitely are a very tight group. It is their academy team. I think we have been seeing a lot of this in China, right? Last season we got YBB and also Extreme Gaming, and then this season we got IG and IGV. I don't think it's something that the rules are against. Because we have had the rules that only one organization can send representative to TI,
Mm-hmm.
but no one ever said anything about DPC just yet. So I guess it's okay for them.
Mm-hmm.
And to be very real, it is a very slim chance for IGV to grab the one slot to TI anyway. So
Yes,
probably don't
it
have to
seems
worry about
unlikely.
that.
They lost 2-0 to Sparkling Arrow Gaming. Who Sparkling Arrow Gaming we've spoken about before. D Stones is a great player, and I like Flyby as well. Was that an expected result, or were you disappointed in IGV?
Uh, I guess it's kind of expected. IGV coming in from open qualifiers, their players are actually not young too. You know, we got Dot Butterflies, we got Dogfights, QIQS. They have been with IGV for at least 1 to 2 years now. Especially Butterfly Effect. He is like the AME of IGV. He has always been there. I've heard a lot from Ponlo talking about this guy as well. The impression to me is like he's basically the CEO of the team.
Okay.
Jokes aside, he has been with the team for a very long time. And for SAG, I think the surprising thing is that D-Stone is not in. Phoenix is actually the substitution for D-Stone. I'm not sure what happened. I've been trying to look for news, but I haven't heard any just yet. But another addition is definitely Ghost, a Southeast Asia player from Malaysia. He's currently like top 6 rank. At one point, even rank 3 in Southeast Asia leaderboard. He is now playing for SAG, and I'm quite intrigued in seeing how it's gonna grow, because Chinese team has a tradition of getting Malaysian player because we can speak Chinese and English. So traditionally, it works pretty well. So I want to see him succeed too.
There are so many Malaysian players at the moment. I've been looking at the Commonwealth Games, which is coming up, and trying to work out if anyone that can even match Malaysia. It's ludicrous. Is Ghost? Talk to me a little bit about Ghost and his history, because I can see 496, Team Oracle, and Galaxy Racer. So kind of those tier 2 teams. Is he stepping up now? Is that, or is this kind of another tier 2 org that maybe won't go anywhere?
Goals, he was way back in the days. He was one of the Dota hero boys, same as Zeal, that is playing with that is currently playing for eHome. So they are definitely buddies. And Goals, I think one thing about him is super high memoir. I am not sure if he's young. I don't think so. I think he's like somewhere around 22 to 23, 24.
24.
All right.
Higher than you thought.
Yeah, 24 to be at the very beginning of his stage. I think you don't consider him as young players anymore.
No.
You know, I think this is the year that he wants to definitely step into a more established stage. So playing for Sparking Arrows Gaming, I think definitely could give himself a very good platform to show himself, because we all know that RNG is the A team, you know, and then Sparking Arrows Gaming is the B team. So they are with the same organization. So I do think his room to improve is quite high. Yeah, and you know, one day if God King doesn't work out anymore, we could easily see Ghost Pop going up the ranks, playing with RNG, with Exnova, with Felix Xiaoba. So who knows?
Just Malaysians in China. Let's talk about Phoenix Gaming, down from Division 1. They 2-1'd YBB. I know they got 2-1'd by YBB. That's a bit of a surprise, isn't it? Or a YBB dark horses here?
I think YBB, they got a big change, right? I think they have the biggest change is that their carry player, their superstar Low, is now playing for Extreme Gaming. And then MS coming in. I think MS has been a name around the tier 2 Chinese team for quite a long time. He's quite a solid position 1. But because of how contested position 1 players are in Chinese teams, you just can't find too many chances. So MS, getting demoted here to playing for Division 2, definitely a big loss for himself. But I think it's not. I think YBB is definitely looking still okay. I think Phoenix Gaming, though, I am a little bit worrying for them, because they also have a Malaysian player, so Chidori, a player that is, it also played with Ghost before, also played with Zil before. In fact, the team is actually quite potential looking back. Chidori is a Malaysian player, quite young. Probably the same age as Zil. I know that he just graduated from uni, so he's definitely looking to pull out big waves here in the Chinese teams. But
did you get a chance to watch
I've been
that
following.
match, or?
Sorry?
Did you get a chance to watch the Phoenix YBB match?
Not really, but I've seen them in some third-party tournaments, and honestly, they weren't looking too amazing. So I think the biggest objective here is probably to stay in the Division 2, because to be honest, if you're contesting for the second spot, right, I think it's still hard. You got SAG to compete with, Extra Aries is decent, and then Dandelion, that's something we are gonna go in very soon.
They also went down from Division 1 with 0 wins, 0-7, 2-14, 1 win against VG and 1 against LBZS, so not exactly giant killers. From what you know of that team, will morale be quite low from a relegation like that? And then obviously a first loss, it must be like, oh, we're not good enough for Division 1, we're now maybe not looking good enough for Division 2. Is that a tricky state for them to be in?
I'm honestly not very sure how's the team doing because they are very quiet in terms of social media. They don't really post a lot, and I'm not really close to their players as well, so I'm not sure what is going on there. Yeah.
Fair enough. Let's move on then to the final result from Division 2, which is Aries versus DEC. Asta Aries with White Album, my favourite names player, and Red Panda as well, versus DEC. Sorry, COVID brain. Dandelion Esport Club, which are an excellent names club. Talk me through that result. A pretty handy win for DEC there. That's a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, I weren't able to catch that game because I was casting earlier, but 2-0 was a very convincing victory, especially DEC coming out from open qualifiers, right? There's a one meme about DEC saying that they are Magma reject because 3 players on their team previously played for Magma before, most notably Shylock and also ZC. Shylock was the carry. Got kicked from Magma because he's too lazy. Yeah, he doesn't play pubs. Yeah, he doesn't play pubs even when the owner of the team asked him to. I think he rejects, or he just didn't show too many passion on it, so he got kicked. And then so people saying that they are the Magma reject, and it seems like this team is doing pretty good because Tian Ming, the position 4, he has played with a lot of big teams before. Previously, so he's definitely coming into this team as a veteran, looking to lead them. He previously played for Team Aster, Keen Gaming, eHome, a lot of big names. So he's definitely the one that's most experienced here. And I'm quite surprised that they're actually beating Aster Aries, because if you look at Aster Aries, right, White Album, Red Panda, Ulu, they are very talented players. They're definitely looking to get into Division 1, and loss like that to open qualifier team is huge.
Yeah. Must be a tricky one. Talk to me a little bit about White Album, because to me last season White Album looked really good on Aster, and he looked reasonable at TI. I don't think he was an unfair kick necessarily, but it did feel that he was a strong player. How's he been looking on Aster Aries up to now?
To be honest, I am not following them too much, and I missed the first game of them today because of work. I wish I could tell you more, but I feel like this team, the problem has always been they have good, talented core players. It just felt like they are lacking of a captain that knows how to win game consistently. Because Red Panda, he has a very high rank position 5 players. The biggest experience for him is playing with the Elephant Boys. Yeah, but then he has always been seen as the scapegoat for a team. Every time the team wasn't doing well, it's always been right. It has always been Red Panda's fault. And truth to be told, though, he hasn't proven himself just yet.
Yeah,
that's still the fact. So him being in a team, I feel like Aster Aries is a team that they want to slowly gel together. You are putting very young players together, very high skill, and they need their time to explore themselves. They need their time to build into a team that knows how to win. So maybe this season, maybe next season. I think the expectation on them is probably not so high.
Yeah, a loss against, as you say, Dandelion Esports Clubs is not put him on good stead for qualification, but perhaps you never know. Let's move on then to Division 1, where all these teams are trying to get. We've had a couple of results so far, only 3 games. 2 LBZS losses against Aster and VG, 2-0 for both. And VG losing 2-1 to PSG LGD. Let's start off with they weren't your favourites, but I guess the consensus favourites of PSG LGD against VG. I did actually watch that game. It looked... I thought VG looked pretty good, and LGD weren't 100% convincing. What was your take on that result?
I feel like new patch, right? You'll always be a little bit shaky. But when it comes to BO3, the one that's more experienced always stands out a little bit. The one game that Vichy Gaming won was with the most popular meta pick, Tiny. LGD simply didn't have any solution to that in that game. But then when it comes to game 3, they still let the Tiny go. And then they come back with the Necroforce to counter it. And that game didn't look close at all. It was a 33-minute game. So it was pretty quick, and I think when it comes to new patch, LGD will have a lot of advantage. First of all, they have incredible hero pool. Second, their game understanding is just on another level in my opinion. So big patch like that shouldn't affect them too much. To be honest, I still think that the biggest challenge of PSG LGD is their motivational level. If they are motivated, they are going to be unstoppable.
Yeah. VG, I thought VG looks reasonable in those series. I think Erica put in a pretty strong performance. Was there any highlights for you from them in that series? We'll talk about their LBZS game next.
Couldn't think of much, to be honest, because the victory of theirs really was on the back of Tiny. So when you are pulling out wins with a meta hero, there's really not much to talk about, I feel. But it's still a big credit for them. It's still a very big confident boost because Vichy right now, just yesterday they announced that Yang is coming in.
Okay.
So yeah, before that, the roster change was SRF came in to replace Irving, but somehow Irving was the one playing the first series. And yesterday they welcomed Yang back to the team, and Yang was playing today during their during their series against LBZS, and he looked good.
So
He's currently
playing as a substitute, so he'll only be playing 3 series. And Irving
4 games, 4 series.
The other ones.
Yeah, so in the post-game interview, he was saying that because he's substitute, he will only be allowed to play 4 games, and he hoped that all 4 games go well. And so far, one of it is already being pretty dominant, 2-0.
Yeah.
So something about Yang is that he took a break after TI, right? He went for a surgery for his eyes, so he took 1 to 2 months break, and then now he's back to the grind, and he's ranked 7 in the China leaderboard. So looking pretty good. Recovery seems good.
So was that LBZS? Obviously, they lost 2-0 to Asta, who were one of your favourites for the league, and then 2-0 to VG, who we had kind of as a middling team, I seem to remember. So that can we draw a lot of conclusions based off VG beating LBZS, or is it just that LBZS are going to pretty much be the whipping boys of this Division 1?
I fear, unfortunately, LBZS, unless they pull out some miraculous win against all these other strong teams, otherwise I think they might go out. They might go down Division 2 without a win. And I say that not because of disrespect, but if you just look at Division 1 teams, man, like there is no easy walkovers at all, especially with LBZS. Like basically every single series for them to win is an upset for them to pull. So that's definitely very, very tough, especially right now in second tour. I feel like this is where a lot of teams are probably most motivated compared to the first one. Because the first one, you could attribute a lot of underperformance to the fatigue that you had from TI, especially for a team like Team Asta and PSG LGD. But this is where everybody has recovered. Everyone's coming in looking to make waves. So I'm afraid LBZS is probably going to go down.
From that team do you know that team particularly well, the players?
Not really. I've seen them in a lot of the third-party tournaments. They look pretty hit or miss, I would say. There's no really superstar player on the team that you can count your back on. So yeah, their social media has been very quiet as well. So nothing much to take from this team, to be honest.
And they lost to Asta too there as well with 23 minutes and 31 minutes. Was that just Asta out them, or was there any?
Oh, that was a shellacking, man. That was just not close enough. Asta just slaughtered them.
It's always hard to talk about who does well in a slaughter. Was it just everyone in Asta, or was there a particular player that really popped off?
I think Asta. The thing about Asta is that everyone looks so good on that team. XSS is always good. Monet is always good as well. Boboka too. So I feel like for them to win, it always feels like it's a team victory for Asta. It always feels like everyone just do their part very well. And their draft was on point as well. I like that they are putting out some new stuff with the Keep of the Light. Something we are seeing a little bit more from Europe. But Asta is always the one that is very willingly to come out with new heroes, because Lanham is a creative guy. He loves innovating. Same as PSG LGD. Yeah. Interesting
to hear. Okay, let's preview what's coming up. The rest of this week, we've got LBZS against Extreme. I imagine your prediction there would be a 2-0 Extreme victory, considering how much you love that team. And eHome versus Magma is a more interesting one. Magma have put in some really good results recently, and we've seen a bit from eHome. What would you expect to happen there?
I think, like you say, Extreme 2-0 pretty easy, I think. Especially how hot Extreme Gaming has been looking recently. Magma eHome is gonna be close though, but I'll always favor the one team that has more momentum going in. eHome placed last in the regional finals. Meanwhile, Magma looking really hot. So unless something miraculous came in for eHome, I feel like Magma should be able to take down this one. Especially eHome, they had a roster change as well. They swapped 7E out with the ex-CDEC mid player called Echo. Don't know too much about him, but it seems like eHome understand that 7E is a big weakness, or it's a big weakness going up against all these fantastic mid laners coming out from Division 1 teams. So it seems like they are targeting their biggest weakness point. And yeah, we'll see. Is there any upset? Because I do feel like for eHome to take a win against Magma is probably going to be an upset.
Mm-hmm. Who needs to perform for eHome? Is there any particular picks or heroes that you think they could put out that would be an effective way of winning here?
I feel like this patch is all about 3 cores. Laning is everything. So Zil and also Shiro, they have to win their lanes right now. I feel like, yeah, if you just don't have a solid laning skills, you're just going to get abused because of how this patch is playing out. Which is why I am a little bit worrying for Aster, because we all know that Ori is not really fantastic when it comes to lane. And you're going up against Nothing to Say, you're going up against Paparazzi, who is very famous of his laning phase, and also Somnus as well. So something that you really need to be careful about for all these teams out there.
Yeah, lots to be interesting looking there. But we've also got a big week next week with VG RNG, eHome PSG OGD, Magma Extreme, PSG OGD Magma, and eHome RNG. So some big matches next week. Any particular highlights that if someone could only tune into one of those, you'd expect them to?
I would say Magma versus Extreme Gaming is going to be a close one. Like, it's basically the rematch of Dota Pit finals. And for the others, I guess RNG finally debuting themselves is an exciting game to watch, especially against Vichy. Vichy, they are definitely with Young. They're looking to, I think their biggest priority for Vichy is going to be staying in Division 2.
Yeah.
If there's anything miraculous coming on, maybe fight for a slot for wildcard. But RNG though, you can tell that their main priority is definitely to be top 2 or maybe top 3. They definitely want to go to major, and we always hype up, God King about his ideas in the new meta, in the new patch. I think this is going to be very interesting to watch.
Yes, they probably would have wanted to play week 1 with God King's strength. Now everyone's seen all those ideas already, but games against eHome and Vichy are definitely good games to test their mettle. PSG OGD against Magma, I think, will be an interesting one as well. It would be a good test of how, because Magma beat them in Dota Pit, didn't they? So
yeah,
that would be an interesting rematch to see how their motivations are picking up. Great, lots to look forward to then. I'm looking forward to watching it. Any other business? Anything else going on in the scene that people need to know about?
Chinese scene has been really quiet recently. Not that I know of. I think that's what I know right now.
Great. Okay, we'll leave it there then. We'll be right back for week 3 next in a fortnight or so. But thanks so much for joining me, and I hope your casting goes well. Everyone tune in to watch Arthur on the SEA.
Thank you. It's gonna be 21st, so hope to see you guys there.
Your first time. Okay, I'm looking forward to it. I'll see you soon, and good luck.
Thank you. Bye bye.